Welcome to lesson 9.3. We're multiplying binomials using FOIL, and then we're multiplying trinomials by binomials. Remember, a binomial is two terms, okay? And so we're taking a binomial times a binomial. FOIL is an acronym we use to remind us to multiply each of the terms in the first binomial by each of the terms in the second binomial. First, meaning these are our first terms. Here's 4x and 3x. 4x times 3x, it gives us 12x squared. And then we take our outer. Our outer is going to be the 4x, and our other outer, you can see here, is the minus 6. That leaves us with negative 24x. Then the I in FOIL is inner. And here we have our 2 and our 3x. Those are the inner two. They're kind of sandwiched in the middle there. So we take 2 times 3x and we get a positive 6x. And then our last terms. The last terms are going to be the last term in each of the binomials. So 2 times negative 6 gives us minus 12. All right, this is a standard binomial times a binomial. Most of the time you'll have linear binomial times linear binomial. And when you have a linear binomial times a linear binomial and you follow the FOIL method, what ends up happening here is your outers and inners become like terms. So we can then, after we've multiplied, we can then simplify, and our 12x squared does not have a like term, but the minus 24x and the plus 6x leaves us with a result of negative 18x. So you can see here how our outers and inners come one term, and then minus 12 does not have a like term. Go ahead and see how you can do in the quick checks. When you're ready, check your answers. So we can see here we're multiplying 3x plus 4 times 2x plus 5, and our result is going to be 6x squared plus 23x plus 20 when it's all said and done. In example B, when we multiply our two binomials here, and notice the sign is changed, just the same problem, but the sign is changed, and it does change the resulting trinomial in this case. Our first term doesn't change, but our second and our third term do. And then in quick check C, again, the same problem, except now we've got the second term is a minus 5. And again, our first term hasn't changed, but our second and our third have changed. Signs have changed, values have changed. And then in D here, we've got 6x squared minus 23x plus 20. Go ahead and get caught up in that. You can restart that when you're ready. Moving on to the next example. Now we've got an application here. Okay, we've got two squares. And what we're going to try and do is we're going to figure out the area of the shaded region. So the first step will be to find the area of this big region here. Okay, and that's going to be 3x plus 2 times 2x minus 1. Remember, area of a square is length times width, or a rectangle is length times width. So we take those two, and we've got basically a binomial times a binomial, and the result is going to be 6x squared plus 1x minus 2. Well, then we have to subtract this piece that's cut out of that whole big rectangle, and that is the rectangle with an area of x plus 3 times x, which you can see right here. Remember, we're going to subtract that whole thing out. So the first step is we distribute our x, and we get x squared plus 3x. But then we have to subtract each piece and combine like terms, and we're left with 5x squared minus 2x minus 2. Okay? We'll be doing a couple examples of this in class tomorrow. Please make sure you ask about it if you have any questions. Go ahead and try the quick check, and when you're ready, can check the answers, and here are the resulting equations for both of those, and then there is our work and our final result. So we have a quadratic trinomial here and a quadratic trinomial here as well. Okay. One last example, we're multiplying a trinomial by a binomial. I usually like to have my binomial written first. So I'm going to rewrite these because remember, we can multiply in any order. 4 times 6 is the same as 6 times 4. So I'm going to rewrite that with the binomial first. It helps me stay a little more organized. It's not something you have to do, but it's something I like to do. And now it's important to make sure that every term in the first binomial is multiplied by every term in the trinomial. So I'm going to do this organized. So I take the 2x times the 3x squared, and I get 6x to the third. And then I take the 2x times the minus 2x, and that gives me minus 4x squared. And then I take the 2x and I multiply it by the 3, and that gives me plus 6x. Then I need to take the 7 and multiply it by every term in the trinomial. So 7 times 3x squared gives me 21x squared. And then 7 times 2x gives me minus 14x. And then 7 times 3 gives me a plus 21. Now my final step is to simplify, and we need to combine like terms. So the 6x to the third stays 6x to the third because there are no like terms. But our minus 4x squared and the plus 21x squared can be combined to make positive 17x squared. And then our 6x and our minus 14x gives us negative 8x. And then our 21 cannot be combined with any like terms, and we're left with plus 21. So our final result is 6x to the third plus 17x squared minus 8x plus 21. Go ahead and try the next quick check example, and when you're ready, check your work. The resulting answer is 12n to the third minus 10n squared plus 34n minus 56. Great job. Please make sure you have your 3 VIPs and questions for class tomorrow.